Hello, and welcome to the Venue Coach Blueprint for Owners. I'm Kyle Labar. This podcast is all about helping you fill your wedding venue with more bookings, earn more from each one, and keep your customers happy for a long time. We'll also talk about some tough times and big lessons that I've learned along the way. Let's dive in together and make your venue the best spot for weddings. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Venue Coach. In today's episode, I want to actually talk about how to handle a cancellation. And meaning when somebody has booked, they've paid their deposit, possibly paid their whole thing, and then they cancel. And as you get going in the business, it doesn't happen that often, but it's a couple of percentages. So if you have 100 events in the year, you might see 3 or 4 of these pop up just throughout the year. And they happen for various reasons. It can be for reasons unknown, it can be because the couple split up, it can be due to misunderstandings or timelines or who knows. Sickness in the family, it just really runs the gamut of different things that it could be. The end result is going to be the same. So what we this is all our approach. So don't feel like this is gospel or you have to follow these things, but if you've been wondering about it or maybe you're experiencing this for the first time, then it might be able to give you some insights into what we do and what we've seen be successful. Uh, I say successful loosely because it's successfully navigating a tricky situation. So the number one thing is in your contract. What does your contract say? So for us, our contract says that if it's within 6 months of their event, we don't give refunds anyways. But if it's within 6 months of the event, then they are no longer able to just move the date to a future date. And if it's before or not before, but greater than 6 months, 6 months or greater, then we'll allow them one time to move the date into the future to another date that is equal in value. So like if they're off peak season or if they're a Friday or a Sunday, then it would be comparable to that. If it's a Saturday in October, then they can get a Saturday in October or basically any day that they want in the future. And so we'll allow that to happen one time and without any extra cost. If it's within that time frame, we don't allow the transfer for nothing. And the reason being is we will lose that date. And so if we just let them switch to another date in the future, we're losing out on the potential for revenue on the date that they are moving away from. And so what we have done in the past, and this is after trial and error and working through and trying to figure out what is the best way, because they reach out and they're distraught because for whatever reason they're needing to cancel that day. And we we want to work with them while also protecting ourselves. And so what we have done that has been well received is if they were wanting to reschedule or push it out into the future, then we will say, okay, if understand that we are losing business by you doing this or wanting to do this, so we aren't able to just push you out into the future with only 3 months to go to your event because there's no way we're going to fill that date. However, if we did fill that date, then we would be willing to apply, whatever it was to the future date that you want to move it to. So you wouldn't pay the full amount, but you'd pay a portion of it. And so that's been well received because we just try to meet them in the middle. And while we don't have, I take this approach, and this is for us, we don't have a legal obligation to do this. In the contract, it clearly states if it's less than 6 months, they just have to rebook and pay the new booking fee. Like we don't have an obligation to do this, but we do it because we want to be we want to meet them where they are and be solution oriented and also compassionate. And I think that if we take that approach, as we do that, we find that we have peace of mind, they have peace of mind, and whether it works or it doesn't, it works out for them or not, whether they can do it or not, that doesn't matter. What we want to do is not come across as unbending, unyielding, um, just stone-faced pieces of trash. Like, and I say that from the client's perspective, right? Here they are. They've had something traumatic happen, whether it's a death in the family or they're having a rough patch in their relationship or illness or whatever it is. They're having something traumatic happen. And they've spent thousands of dollars with us for something that they haven't received the benefit of yet. And then due to those circumstances, they want to make an adjustment or need to, right? It might be a need that's driving this. And if we take the approach of the unsympathetic, emotionless statues, then we've just diminished our value. And that's the approach that we take, and the feeling and the view that we take at our venue is we don't want to diminish the value. We don't want to be taken advantage of either. Don't misunderstand me. I don't want to be taken advantage of, and I will absolutely hold my ground. However, if we can be helpful, we want to be helpful. And that's our approach at our venue. And we have had a few cancellations over the past couple of years, and it happens. We've had some that push out to a future date. We've had some that have rescheduled with more than 6 months. We've had some that have tried to reschedule with less than 6 months. But what we haven't had is a bad review from how we handled that situation. And that's the indicator that we are doing it right. Now, we also don't get 5-star reviews saying, "Hey, we had to cancel our wedding and they kept all of our money, but you should totally book with them because they handled us great." Like, we're not going to get that, but that neutral, that non-review is better than a 1-star review. And I don't chase reviews, but what I use them for is a lagging indicator for how well we're doing. So if we're getting all 5-star reviews and everybody's raving about the service that we provide and being there and taking care of them and working with them when there's problems and things like that, then that tells me that we're doing it right. But if I start to get 1-star reviews and saying that, oh, we're jerks, we don't do anything, we don't work with them, blah blah blah, we took their money, this and that and the other, then that tells me that I need to make a change. And that's that I so I don't chase reviews, but I use them to give me an indication of how we're doing. So all that to say is I suggest, and this is just my suggestion, you can do as you'd like, but I suggest being compassionate with your couples in the good times and in the bad times, taking care of them and helping them feel understood and heard while also protecting yourself and not being taken advantage of. There is a fine line, and there's a line there that you have to tread carefully, but if you do, you will be able to navigate those tricky waters much more successfully. So if you found this useful, I'm happy for that, and I hope that you subscribe and stay tuned for the next one, and I will see you there.